Basically, a little bit about my lived experience and background. Parts of my personal story that have influenced who I am today. Well, I have been through an amazing life full of many ups and downs. When I was very young, maybe even younger than 5 years old, I lost my innocence. I grew up in the church and I always knew God, but there was something pulling me to get acceptance because I could have been possibly dealing with an unloving spirit, generational curses. I came from a really big family where there were 5 other brothers and sisters. There was a split home with both my parents had been previously married and had kids from those marriages. So I kind of came after all of that, and all of those factors just influenced me in a way that made me feel unloved, not special, kind of just, middle child syndrome. I wasn't the baby and I wasn't the oldest. And there was just a lot of different issues that arose from a split family like that. And so I was seeking for something to give me validation and to make me feel special. So I indulged in things that I knew, even as a little child, were inappropriate. But now that I've done a lot of work on myself, I've realized that, when you're under the age of consent, you really aren't 100% responsible. The enemy likes to attack people that are young and vulnerable. And so I lost my innocence, and from there it was just a downward spiral for many, many years of just trying to get acceptance from men in the wrong places and people pleasing. Started experimenting with drugs and alcohol at age 14, and just had really a very hard life in that area because, obviously drugs and alcohol are just a temporary fix, but they always left me feeling worse than before, and it was never the fix that God wanted to give me and the perfect peace that He has to offer. So luckily, I was able to kick the really hard stuff like alcohol and other harder drugs. But the one that was the hardest to kick actually is the marijuana. That one is the one that I've done the most consistent my whole life. And just recently, I lost my unemployment, didn't have anything saved up, and really it was partially my fault because a lot of that money was going to my marijuana addiction. So I was kind of left flat broke, and I was starting to have car troubles before the unemployment ran out. So I was really left at like a hard space. At the beginning of July, I was broke. I didn't have a car. Didn't really know a bunch of people in Winona because I'm actually originally from Montana, and I moved out to La Crosse to help my brother who was suffering with stage 4 cancer, and that's where all my mom's side of the family lives. So I was basically there for the last year, but then I needed to move out of my brother's house eventually and just found a place in Winona. So it was really just convenient wise. There was really I didn't know anybody in Winona. There's really no reason besides the fact that it was close to La Crosse, and it was easy to get into this apartment during the pandemic. So basically I was broke, no car, and God just helped me to get over my addiction basically by not being able to do it. And it was a much better alternative than going to treatment. And I know I'm still very early in my sobriety, but a month is a huge deal to me because I haven't went a month clean in years. I did go to treatment maybe 5 years ago. I was clean off marijuana and everything else for about 3 years, but then I was in another toxic relationship with a man that led me back to the marijuana because I was just so defeated, and it was so toxic and so terrible. but it really has, you know, taught me so much about myself. I can now be independent and really just be okay with being by myself and being with God. I no longer need to be around people. So yeah, that was kind of long. I'm just going to try and cut it a little short because I know it's very difficult to send very long videos. So the challenges that I faced in Winona because of my lived experience, like I was saying before, you know, I don't really know anyone, and my car broke down. So I've just been trying to look for work without a car, and, you know, just not really having a support system here has been the hardest thing. The opportunities that emerged was actually when I needed money, to survive on. I really don't have much, but I did have this necklace that I knew was real white gold because with my unemployment, I was finally able to buy something nice. And I eventually had to sell this cross necklace that I had to this jewelry store. And as I was walking back home from the jewelry store is actually where I saw your church, and everyone was like waving me in. I was just kind of reading or seeing what was going on inside, and everybody was just like, come in, come in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. So then I learned about the Bible study, and, you know, just I'm already starting to see God open so many doors. It's amazing. The sorts of changes that I'm interested in creating, I really want to incorporate music, music making, songwriting, music production, dance, and incorporate those into the church. Those are my passions in life. And so I really want to share those with other people. And I also have about 11 years experience in doing them. And, you know, I am trying to maybe not be so much in the secular world anymore. I really want to incorporate Jesus into all these things that I'm doing. I'd also love to incorporate some classes that combine Jesus and the Bible with mental health and life skills. I'm in this program right now through the Salvation Army in Montana where I just join their classes over the phone. But I'm in classes like codependency, life skills, Bible studies, so it would be great. I also have a bachelor's degree in sociology, studied a lot of psychology, and I'm still keeping current with it today. So I have a lot of experience in that department. Still struggle with depression and anxiety a little bit, but I am so much farther than where I started. And then what do I hope to get out of this program? I hope to build a sense of community, build friendships and bonds with believers, use my talents and passions to glorify God and give back to the community. And yeah, I've probably created over 30 songs. I know how to record. I actually even have a little recording studio behind me. Still trying to learn the mixing and mastering, but I do have about 5+ years of teaching dance, ballroom and Latin dancing, and I would love to teach dance to kids or adults, or I don't even know if that's what you guys are asking for teaching, but something to incorporate talents and passions and things that just altogether glorify Jesus, but also give you a sense of fulfillment. So thank you for your time. And